Welcome to another TDM discussion. Hey everybody, TDM Tim here, and welcome to a discussion with the Techadelic Minds team. Today I am here with TDM TA, and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about the new proposed budget for the Trump administration for 2018. We're not going to 2019. My bad. I am corrected. For 2019. Now, we're not going to go in depth on a lot of things. I would highly advise you to, if you are interested, to actually read the budget yourself if you want to really know what this is all about and not just take someone's opinion for it. We'll try our best to just read off directly what is from the budget and then express our opinions on that so that you can at least know what is a fact and what is opinion right from the get-go. And to kick it off, I'll start the discussion with a very specific branch of the government that I have a lot of feelings towards and I've always enjoyed what they've done, and that is NASA. Now, NASA is a integral part of our society, in my opinion, because of the scientific development that they push forward and everything that they have brought to us technology-wise. There are so many things we use on a daily basis that we only have because of NASA's innovation and their willingness to push for the unreachable and reach it. So we'll start out with the pros. For me, I am going to discuss pros first, then the cons of the budget. So to get started on the pros, first and foremost, this budget supports further funding for private-public cooperation for further space missions and for further development of technology. Simply put, this means that SpaceX and other companies like it will be getting more government funding and more assistance to improve the private sector's ability to reach space, which is highly important because of the competitive factor that the private sector brings. And because really, if we want to make space exploration something that is done not on the yearly basis, but done on the daily basis, we are going to need the private sector involved in this journey. Number two for my pros is that the budget as well supports robotic missions and the research necessary to accomplish that throughout the solar system, including a new rover mission to Mars. And I am always for further exploration of the solar system and further exploration of robotics and its capabilities. As well, they are supporting a mission to retrieve samples from the Martian surface, which will greatly increase our understanding of Mars, which without a doubt will be the first planet that we put people on. So the ability to understand the environment and everything that we will encounter on Mars is key to our success in actually exploring and colonizing the solar system. As well, the budget supports a planetary defense system, which I think is just to put it frankly, next level shit. A planetary defense system necessary to protect Earth from other bodies in space, and by that I mainly mean asteroids. Now, I am all for better protecting Earth from natural disasters, which is what that is, simply put, and something that I think we've been missing out for a long time because we've had a lot of close calls with asteroids, and I don't know about you, Trent, but I would not like to end up like the dinosaurs, honestly.
I'd rather not. I mean, I can think of better ways to go.
I can too, like nuclear annihilation, but that...
Oh, yeah.
That's besides the point.
Leave it to Rick Perry, man.
So, and to give my last pro for NASA, the budget supports the return of humans to space. And to put that frankly, I think President Trump, and this might be something I don't say all the time, put it somewhat well. He signed a directive on November 11th of 2017. This directive I'm signing today will refocus America's space program on human exploration and discovery. It makes an important step in returning American astronauts to the moon for the first time since 1972 for long-term exploration and use, which is something that I've always supported. The fact that we haven't continued human exploration into space is a disappointment both personally for me and I think as a whole a disappointment the country should feel. Now, to get to the first con that would have to relate to every pro I've just said, they make all of these claims. But despite making all of these further claims about how they're reorganizing NASA's budget and how they're spending money, they have decreased NASA's budget by a whole by 0.3%. Now, that's not as bad as many departments in this budget, as I'm sure you can relate, Trent.
Oh, yeah.
But still, I would like to put this into perspective. This is a study done by NASA in 2013. For every dollar that NASA spends, NASA generates $2.6 in economic output. To put that in perspective, the federal government as a whole, for every dollar they spend, only generates $2.3 in economic output. So, with that small difference, when you're talking about the billions, which we are with this budget, for every $1 billion you put into NASA, compared to $1 billion you would put into the government as a whole, you would generate 300 million more by putting that through NASA than the government as a whole. It's either 30 million or 300 million. I can't remember if I've done my math correctly here. But either way, fiscally speaking, the more conservative solution is to increase NASA's budget. I'm not saying double, triple, quadruple it. You don't have to pour all your money into NASA. But NASA is without a doubt one of the best fiscal investments in the US government. And cutting its budget does not help the economy or help pay off the deficit in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, and to add on to that, when you're talking about investments, I mean, that's really how I look at funding these departments, funding these programs, funding these missions, and all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't view it as like an entitlement or whatever word you want to use, because I think it's just purely an investment in the future of, in the case of NASA, an investment in the future of mankind. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at all.
Without a doubt.
I don't see why anyone could be possibly opposed to that. At least any rational person.
Now, some of their explanation for the decrease in NASA's budget is that they're trying to push further for private sector cooperation and involvement, which I've expressed in my pros list that I am all for. But the difference being that I don't think we should hand over the reins to the private sector when it comes to space exploration and furthering our understanding of space. I think we should allow them to cooperate with us, but that first and foremost, NASA should be leading the charge. NASA should be on top of and in front of these companies in any way possible. Not because of some superiority complex, but because of NASA's mission at its core is not one of finances. It's not one of getting more revenue. It is one of further exploration and understanding. Now, you could and I would make the argument that it's neither SpaceX's current goal to actually make money back at this point. I'm sure at some point that's what the company will switch towards. But any other company currently involved, such as Boeing, their primary concern is revenue and increasing revenue. Even if it's not immediately, their goal in the long term is making sure that they gain revenue from these operations, which is not what I think should be spearheading our exploration of space. As well, I have an issue with the many NASA missions that were canceled or eliminated fully because of this. For instance, the OCO-3, which was a satellite that was planned to understand how carbon spreads in the atmosphere and throughout the world. And along with the OCO-3, there were many other Earth science missions and operations that were canceled. There were many more that were funded still, but most of the ones that were funded were about imagery and about GPS systems and such. They were not about the understanding of the environment and the understanding of the human impact on the environment, which to my opinion is just correlates with the administration's opinion on the human impact on the environment. As well, they eliminated the W-FIRST telescope, which would have been an amazing further push for science when it comes to our understanding of astronomy and the universe as a whole. And the one that disappoints me on a very deep level is they eliminated the Office of Education in NASA, which is NASA's outreach into the education world to better support and raise the well-educated members of society needed to help maintain NASA. So it was how NASA further funded the education needed to teach people in these sciences and needed to further grow these scientists, these astronauts, these engineers that would be needed in the future to help maintain NASA, which to me is short-sighted. I don't know if you have anything more to say about NASA, but that wraps up my list for NASA.
No, I mean, you pretty much covered it all. I mean, I would like in regards to the idea that SpaceX or the federal government wants to help cooperate with private corporations like SpaceX with have NASA and SpaceX cooperate in terms of space exploration. I mean, I'm all for that. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I do agree with you that that NASA should be leading the way, simply for the fact that even if Elon Musk and SpaceX at this moment might not appear to be have a profit motive for what they're doing, even if they're not right now, which I find that hard to believe, but I am also not very well versed on what Elon Musk does in terms of his business practices, so I shouldn't really comment on that. But it's certainly in the future it will, especially when, like you said, Boeing and Raytheon and Northrop Grumman, all of them, once they start getting into the business, it's going to be 100% for profit.
Without a doubt.
So, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it.
Yep. So the reins and our opinions should be held by NASA.